So, students, after Dadabhai Naroji, we are going to start with the Gopal Krishna Gokhale. So, another prominent early nationalist. Gopal Krishna Gokhale was born at Kolhapur in Maharashtra. He was a professor of history and economics. Then he was very much influenced by the ideals of Justice M.G. Ranade, and he joined the Deccan Education Society. Then later he went to England, and later he was awarded the title of CIE. Gopal Krishnan became the most popular leader of the Indian National Congress, and he presided Varanasi session of the Congress also. Now, what was his contribution in the Indian history? So, first one, that Gokhale favored the use of constitutional means to achieve his goals. Already we have done the constitutional reforms and certain issues, which was where he criticized the government on certain issues, just like incurring huge expenditure on the British Army. He don't want that a lot of money should be spent on the British Army. Then adopting the policy of racial discrimination in the appointment to the higher post. Britishers, they were using these policies while the appointment of the higher post. Then they were also imposing taxes on the cotton. So these Britishers, these three things he criticized, and then he was also in the favor that judiciary should be separated from the executive. So he played an important role when Minto Morley they came to the country, and certain reforms they were made by them. Then he also served as a member of the Indian Public Service Commission. Then during his visit to England, he tried that partition of Bengal, which we are going to study in the next chapter, should not be implemented. So next you can say that the servant of the Indian society, he set up, underline the servants of Indian society, and aim was to train national leaders who would dedicate themselves to the service of India. Then role as a member of legislative council, he became a member, and he talked about and he worked for the reduction in salt duty and abolition of the excise duty on cotton goods also. Then led to the reduction in the toll taxes. Then he tried to introduce a bill and with a view to make primary education compulsory. Then being an economics, he demanded radical changes in the fiscal policies, that is the import and export policies. Then he impressed upon the government to reduce the land revenues also, which was charged by them. Then later on, Gokhale went to South Africa, where he helped Gandhiji, where Gandhiji was fighting against the racial discrimination, and he was the only person who made Gandhiji, or who forced Gandhiji to come to India and join Indian public life. That is why Gandhiji accepted Gokhale as his political mentor, and later he died. Now, after Gopal Krishna Gokhale, the third important prominent person. Next topic, it is Surendranath Banerjee. He was a nationalist leader, popular journalist, and dedicated educationist. He was born in Bengal, and he was the first Indian to qualify for the Indian Civil Services examination. He worked as a magistrate in Assam, but soon he was dismissed from there because he opposed the policy of racial discrimination, which was followed by the Britishers. Later, he began his career as a professor of English. He set up his own school, which later developed into Ripon College. He was elected to the Calcutta Corporation and remained its member for number of years. He was elected to the Bengal Legislative Council 4 times, and he advocated use of educational methods for the attainment of Indian goals. His famous saying, underline, opposition where necessary, cooperation where possible. His contribution to the Indian freedom established the Indian Association to fight against the wrong policies of the Britishers. He founded the Indian Association. Its aim was to educate the people, to create strong public opinion, and to arouse political consciousness and unity. Created an all India political organization In order to create an all India political organization, Surendranath convened the Indian National Conference at Kolkata. Surendranath Banerjee's Indian National Conference, it merged with the Indian National Congress, and both organizations has similar objectives. Political ideas. Banerjee edited a newspaper, Bengali, which served as a powerful media for mobilizing public opinion. His book, underlined Nation in the Making, gives an account of his political concern and his views about self-government. Banerjee started agitation against the License Act, underline Arms Act, Vernacular Press Act, and against lowering the age from 21 to 19 years to appear in the ICS examination. He also opposed the Morley-Minto reforms, which introduced separate electorates for Hindus and the Muslim. Banerjee, popularly known as father of Indian nationalism, he's given this name, and his contribution had a great impact in the Indian freedom, as he died in 1925. Now this was the third chapter which we have finished. Now what your homework is, that you have to do all the short answers of this chapter. You will mark all the answers, they are given in your book. Go through your chapter properly, find out the question answers, and then later we will discuss the answers. Now this is your homework. Now we are going to start with the fourth chapter, that is the second phase of the Indian national movement. So first one was the third chapter was the first phase, and now the second phase. First phase was about all the moderate leaders or early nationalists. Now in second chapter we are going to study about the radical people, or you can say that extremist people. These people, they were these are the Indian people only, but their views and their way of working was different from the early nationalists. So before we will talk about these radical people, first of all we will do the division, or you can say that the partition of Bengal. So now, as you know, that Lord Curzon, he came to India as a viceroy, and he was very much criticized by the Indian government, because he was the only person who gave the concept of partition of Bengal. So scheme of the partition, the presidency of Bengal was the most thickly populated province in British India. It comprises Bengal, you can underline Bihar, Odisha, Chota Nagpur, and some of other remote areas. So these are not, you just go through these names only, no need to learn these names. So the first province, Bengal, which include western districts of Bengal like Bihar, Odisha, and Calcutta was its capital. And second, Eastern Bengal and Assam, which comprises of Eastern District of Bengal, and Dhaka was the capital of the new province. And the scheme of the partition of Bengal was implemented on October 16, 1905. So what was the different causes for the partition of Bengal? The main motive for the partition of Bengal, according to the British rulers, was administrative necessity. Please underline, that was there. They said that the province of Bengal was too big to be efficiently administered by the single provincial government. You can underline this, that the reason which was given by the Britisher was this, that Bengal is a big province and it is very difficult to handle that province. That is why the Bengal was divided into two parts, the Western Bengal and the Eastern Bengal. But however, who worked out the plan, they came out with some other motives, like Bengal was the nerve center of Indian nationalism at that time. So the British hoped to stop the rising tide of the nationalism, because most of the prominent leaders, they belongs to Bengal, and they felt that If we will divide the Bengal, so we will be able to stop those people. The second point, the partition of the state was intended to curb Bengali influence. So they want to control the powers of the Bengali, and in order to do such, they divided the Bengal into two parts. And the third point, the partition was meant to foster division on the basis of the religion. Like East Bengal, it will be that East Bengal will be given to the Muslim majority, and the other West Bengal will be given to the Hindu majority. So these were some of the reason which was not given by the Britishers, but it was later on found that basically main reason was these only behind